Thank you, Rima, for joining me. I wanted to congratulate you on Superboys of Maligaon. Wonderful movie. I just enjoyed every bit of it and it made me sad, but it also made me very happy, which is the best kind of film, which makes you cry happy tears. So thank you so much. Rima, how much of it, I wanted to ask you, took you back to your days in Big Boy, right? Where you grew up, I
Yeah, a
think.
lot of it. Kaveri,
Yeah,
sorry, my dog is going nuts. I'm just going to put her out.
sure, sure.
Uh, because my formative years were in a small town.
Yeah,
And in that sense, I think that Nasir and I are from the same generation.
yeah,
So, like, we both like the same kind of, like, I think he's very influenced by Salim Javed. So am I. Huge but Mr. Bachchan fans, uh, Bruce Lee fans, Chaplin fans. There's a lot of common stuff that we like. Uh, just being this small town kid who was a film buff.
yeah,
Because at that time, had no idea I'm going to be a filmmaker. You know,
right,
so it's just a pure love for the movies. There's no
right.
agenda in that
Yeah,
sense. And what is charming about Nasir is, I think because he kind of stayed in Malegaon
yeah.
and films for Malegaon, that idealism and that innocence and that no agenda filmmaking, that's so inspiring.
Yeah.
He was
Have
just
you lost? Yeah.
he was just
Sorry.
for the love of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me there were, I think, two broken down cinema halls in Big Boy where you used to watch movies. Tell
I
me
mean,
a
they
little
were two.
more
They were not broken down. They were like regular small town.
regular. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they were not very fancy, but there were two cinema halls. They were called Janta and Jasoda, and there was also video parlors and stuff. But as a child, obviously, I was not allowed to go into them. But like Nasir, I think that, and like a lot of the kids who grew up, in the 80s and 90s, I think we are all products of piracy.
Yeah.
So there's obviously the formative years. That's a very strong connection. But I kind of also realized that you could be a director anywhere, but there are certain traits of a director that you'll have.
Hmm.
I mean, they're all different personalities and personality types, but you will be a hustler trying to sell your idea and desperately
Hmm.
get it made. Because that's a struggle I think that people have. Doesn't matter on whatever level you're functioning out of,
Right.
you know. And I think there's just a love for cinema and his lived experience that really, really kind of spoke to me.
And very importantly, collaboration. Collaboration. Finding people like yourself who share that sense of wonder and magic. Getting that group of people together.
Yeah.
That's also very tough, isn't it?
Yeah, because the family owned a video parlor.
Hmm.
There were about 14, 13 or 14 other video parlors in Malegaon.
Right.
That I think for such a small town with such a small population, that in itself was unique.
Yeah.
And that is what kind of also really helped mushroom this film industry, the Malegaon film industry. And
Right.
Nasir, I think, made Malegaon Ka Sholay thinking he'll screen it in his theater. And because it became so successful, all the other theaters started exhibiting it.
Hmm.
And that kind of inspired him to make a lot more films and a lot of other people in Malegaon to make similar films. And they were spoofs, but they were significant because he cast people from there, and the themes were significant to the people there. The issues were significant to the people there. So it was really, in that sense. cinema by the people for the people. And that became a viable industry.
How similar is it to what's happening right now with YouTube?
Well, once the internet came in and these
Yeah,
platforms, that Malegaon industry has shifted to YouTube,
yeah,
but they continue to make stuff.
right.
Yeah, yeah. They
But
have, you'll be
yeah,
amazed if you go online to see the kind of followers they have.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're very popular, they're very loved. And there's this
Was
folk Khandesi humor. Uh,
Khandesi it's called?
yeah, yeah. So just look at it. It's very interesting.
Right.
So, I mean, our source material was fab.
Yeah, of course, apart from the documentary as well. That's what first brought Malegaon to your attention.
Yeah, in terms of, I think that's how Zoya recognized, she had seen the documentary and she recognized Nasir. So
Right.
she kind of went up and introduced herself at Ocean. And he was like,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Which year was this?
I think like this is a couple of years after the documentary had come out. Maybe like
Right.
I'm not sure what they had gone for. Maybe they had gone for Zindagi. Anyway, it was, I think,
Hmm.
after 2012. And she introduced herself to him, and he said, yeah, I know who you are. I've ripped off some of your father's films. You know, and I think that itself is so disarming that she started chatting with him. And
Right.
yeah, so when she came back, that was the first time she told me about it, you know,
Right.
and I hadn't heard of the documentary. So then, I mean, initially it was difficult, I think, at that time to access the documentary. Right now, it's on YouTube.
Yeah.
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 I was kind of looking for it, then I started researching it, Googling it. And there's a lot of, there was some articles written about them. So in that sense, they had their fair share of,
Fame.
yeah. But, and they were also like, Nasir was accepting an award with Mr. Bachchan somewhere.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It was like
So that yeah, you're
yeah, I
saying?
think the I'm not sure which TV channel, but, and Nasir was making a speech and he said that, I made this film and I made it on 30 or 50,000, something like that. And it earned 4 times the money. And Mr. Bachchan was sitting there and even he started clapping.
Right.
So it was just too good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did the idea of making it,
No, so
sort of
immediately,
fictionalizing
pretty
it?
much immediately, we reached out to Nasir and he was open to kind of giving us his life rights. So that took a couple of years, but
Right.
this has been a bit of a long-standing project for us. Also, I think because of the dream that we had for it, the vision that we had for the film. Uh,
Yeah.
Zoe and me and Tiger Baby and Farhan and Ritesh at Excel, we've really always wanted to try and make that uh, very Indian film, which will travel globally. And so, in that sense, it's a bit of an experiment because it's releasing here. It's also got an international release. It's Amazon MGM's first Hindi feature,
Right.
and so it kind of that part of it took some time to come up with a way to do it.
Right.
So that took time, and then Zoe and I were also, we had just kind of formed Tiger Baby at that time. So we had so many other commitments, with Made in Heaven, Dahar, our films. So I mean, that's how we decided to kind of get Varun Grover in.
Yeah.
What was interesting, I mean, Varun himself had already seen the documentary, met these
Right.
guys, and had a lot of research already.
Okay.
Just a story that he was spotting.
Right.
And so it kind of all came together really nicely. So that's how Varun came on. And that's when we started working on it.
That was what, 2 years ago?
No, no, much longer. It was just before COVID.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
took that long.
Yeah, because also, Varun spent an extensive period of time uh, researching, onboarding people, you know what I'm saying? Because you'll see that when you take somebody's life rights, you also have to, get a whole lot of other people's no objections and stuff like that.
Right.
There's a lot of
Right.
paperwork in that sense. And if you notice, Varun has a executive producer credit on the
Yeah.
film because his
Yeah.
help with all this stuff was, incredible. Like he really did a incredible job with Kasim and the other producers because it's really complicated, to do this.
Yeah. Such a large cast of
Yeah,
people,
yeah. So
and two of them not being
yeah.
there
And then coming back to the documentary, we are all fans of the documentary. If you notice, we have given it a shout out at the end of the
at
film.
the end. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all fans of the documentary. So, and we are very aware that it's there. And so what we decided was we are functioning under completely different parameters. What we were going for were things that Nasser's lived experience celebrates.
Right.
It's not necessarily a documented kind of biographical thing of his life. We
Right.
want to celebrate what all of this means, as opposed to because the documentary is already out there, in
Yeah.
that. So we kind of decided that Varun will start on a clean slate, and which is when he went to Malegaon and spent a lot of time. And
Mm.
luckily for us, Nasir is like a huge archivist of his own life. So he's got
Right.
a lot of stuff, just shoots when they went, celebrations after, uh,
Oh,
clippings that came out, video stuff that came out on TV. He had all of it.
wow.
Mm. So, it was really kind of interesting to then. So once the research was done, we kind of all went through it and sort of bounced about, all the themes that we were approaching and all the layers that we wanted to approach.
Hmm.
It's, apart from a very brave DIY filmmaking story, there's a very strong friendship story. There's a community that stood by him in many ways, helping him make the film. And the audience is also so important.
Yeah.
It spoke to them and they supported them.
Right.
So it was like a very successful two-way relationship. And
Right.
Nasser didn't need the whole of India to make his film successful. Nasser and the rest
Yeah.
of the filmmakers,
Right. Right.
yeah. So in that sense, I think it's a very strong statement on what cinema is, what film is, what movies are, or what art is, you know.
Right.
So that was
And yeah.
layer that we definitely wanted. Then there's just a celebration of cinema and
Yeah.
that it's magical. And eventually, I think for all of us as artists, there's I think what you go for is immortality
Yeah.
because you will go, but your work will always be there.
Right.
So I think these were all themes that his lived experience really threw up.
Right.
I think on a level, because we are not a documentary and a feature film, we thought that our parameters were to go
Beyond.
beyond. So yeah, it was. I mean, that's how it started. And then Varun went off, and he would write story beats and bounce it off us. Zoe and I never wrote, but we were always there to kind of just for him to bounce things off.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
because I think that writing is kind of a lonely process. So it's nice to
Right.
get some feedback and back and forth, and
Right.
yeah,
Right. The casting, that happened when once you had all of it together and
yeah,
you
yeah,
saw the script,
yeah.
terrific eye for
And we've
the
always
the,
we
the
always
boys.
work with Nandini Shrikant and Karan
Yeah.
Mali. So obviously, like a lot of these actors, we had worked with before.
Yeah.
Whether it's Adarsh,
Adarsh,
or Sashank is in
Made in Heaven.
yeah, Vineet and I've worked in Gold together. Manjari and I
Right.
worked in The Heart together. So there's
Right.
yeah. So we were all very aware of their caliber and what they bring to the table. And
Right.
yeah, it was just a question of, we weren't trying to obviously mimic anybody. We wanted to get a sense
Hmm.
of these people. So
Hmm.
there is a physical likeness, yes, but it's also the spirit of the person. That's what you want to
Yeah.
capture, you know?
You know, something that you said early on, that, that innocence and that sort of idealism, has that changed for you? Because the industry is a tough place to be, and not everything you,
I got
uh,
like a full dose of inspiration. You know what I'm saying? In fact,
yeah,
I've spoken about this before because I do think that, when you're working in a situation like this, it is a tough job and it is high pressure, and that takes its toll on you on a level,
yeah,
and you do feel a bit jaded with things. But
yeah,
with Nasir, I think I kind of discovered why I wanted to make films in the first place, just out
right,
of love for movies,
yeah,
and that was very refreshing for me.
yeah.
Yeah,
Who
humbling,
decided? Yeah, sorry, you were saying?
refreshing and humbling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and took you back to that little girl in Big Boy who was just watching movies because
Love
you loved
movie,
it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
simple.
so I really had fun making the film. I think that because of this, it's the freest I've felt while I've directed.
Right.
And I
You're
have to,
not thinking of
yeah, I was
box
just, yeah,
office.
I
Yeah.
really have to kind of thank Nasir here for trusting us with his life rights. And we took such a long time. He stuck to us. He was approached by a lot of other people, but he always believed Zoya should be the one. And Nasir, he's also very kind of, he just says things, So he's
Huh.
telling me that, when Zoya wanted the life rights, I went back and I checked out Luck by Chance many times, and I
Huh.
realized he's the right person to do it. Then
Right.
he's like a couple of years later when I realized that, she's going to produce and you're going to direct. I watched Talash like that many times. And I realized that you can tell a really good story. So, it was, we also had to like, you understand, he
Pass his test. Pass the Nasir
passed his
test.
test and he stuck by us, for
Yeah.
years, for years.
Right.
Yeah. So
In fact, that was
I'm
my
deeply
next
grateful
question,
to him.
Rima.
Yeah.
Who decided who would direct this between the two of you? How
Uh,
did that come about?
I mean, like I said, I just felt really connected to the story. And so when I spoke and I said, I love it, would like to do it. And she said, you should.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Super.
eternally grateful to Zoya for uh, giving it to me so gracefully without a fight.
Yeah. But there must have been lots of other fights. Your legendary fights.
Yeah, but those are never about these kind of things. They're
Yeah.
always mostly creative, or then arriving, kind of coming up from mutual disrespect that two very old friends naturally have for each other. That's,
Right.
yeah. So but it's never this kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about what's behind you, Rima. My attention has been
Oh,
diverted to it. It's so
oh,
lovely.
you're not the first person who, you want me to move out? Yeah. It's
Yeah.
this Sanjay and
Sorry, I can't hear you.
use this kind of cloth behind.
Sorry, I lost you in between, Rima. Tell me, just tell me a bit about it.
Yeah, so the artist is Sanjay M. Chitara, and this is Ahmedabad, actually.
Oh,
His,
acha.
yeah,
That's why the stepwells and
yeah, and it's a print on fabric.
okay.
Yeah, Zoya gave it to me for my birthday a couple of years ago.
What fascinates you about it? I just love it. Love that it's so intricate.
Yeah. It's intricate, and it's this is that they do this kind of thing on for fabric in temples. So it's
Oh,
coming from that, and they used to use this technique, I think, to uh, use print the whatever that they use behind the deities.
Okay.
Mm.
Wow. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. Listen,
So
I think you must edit out my explanation of these Hindu things, please. I mean,
that, by the way, it never got registered, so it's okay.
okay, somebody please take it out because suddenly uh, I'll be public enemy number one, which I don't
Yeah.
need right now.
No, no, no. We don't need anything like that. So,
Yeah.
also, there was death as well, no? I mean, the idea that these two people, and you can sense that it's going to happen. There's that tragic air about these two characters. So, in a sense, it's also about death, but done very delicately. It's about loss.
Yeah, it is. It is. And I mean, that's why it was kind of the events that, kind of followed uh, post the documentary or
Yeah,
while the making of the documentary. It kind of really threw up this whole thing of, art immortalizes you. And
yeah,
on a level, Nasir has immortalized Shafiq and Farooq.
isn't it? How
And
beautifully.
it's when we went to Toronto at TIFF, at the first screening, where whatever, we were all kind of very emotional because we got this thunderous kind of
Applause. Yeah,
response. Yeah. And Nasser started crying, and at that point he said, I think to Zoya that I wish Shafiq and Farooq had been here, you know.
yeah,
But in my head, I was thinking they are here in a way,
yeah.
and that was beautiful. And
And
that's,
there's that line in the movie when he says that you've written a page in history about Malegaon.
yeah.
And that's exactly what he's done, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that even I think it's a very heroic and valiant kind of story because if you see, it starts with him making a spoof of Sholay,
Yeah,
and it's ending with, and that was written by Javed Saab and Salim Saab, and
right.
ending with the next generation making a film about Nasir.
That's it. Yeah.
It's really
It
comes
comes
full circle.
yeah,
Full
yeah,
circle. And the other, I think, really unique thing about Nasir, there's so many, but is that so many other people have made remakes of Sholay, but
yeah.
Nasir, I think, remains the most successful one. You know,
We won't talk about Ram Gopal Verma.
no, we won't take names.
But so I felt that sense of loss. It's almost palpable. You can. It's so tragic as well, but it's yet uh, so celebratory of cinema at the end of it.
I mean, we were really kind of trying to, I was, trying to cue the fact that you have one life.
Yeah,
So you have to do, you have to follow your dreams. And I hope
yeah.
the film inspires people to do that. And if you don't have a dream, I hope the film inspires a dream in you.
Inspires you to have a dream.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because I think that you need that kind of thing for kind of actualizing your full potential as a human.
Yeah.
And you do only have this much time on this earth.
Just to go back to that point, what had you lost? You talked about being a little jaded. Had you lost anything over those last 10, 20 years? I mean, was there something? I mean,
Oh,
because you made wonderful films as well. You made
no,
wonderful
I
sequels.
do. But then your mindset, you're
Yeah,
not, you do have, you tend to strategize and and that happens. It's not necessarily a bad thing,
yeah,
because you also are growing, like Zoe and me, Tiger Baby happened very organically.
right.
It came from our writing partnership, and that also takes a lot of your time and energy and, setting up something, uh,
Yeah,
trying to kind of, I think, in an environment where it's a little difficult, trying to kind of do the work that speaks to you and actually do the work that
actually.
put out, the work that you put out is authentic to you.
Yeah,
It's not been sort of giving into the commerce or any other pressure
yeah,
all the time, you know. So I mean, things like that, these kind of things, I'm not jaded, but they do, all of this plays on your mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the point if people don't watch it, right? You have to make things that people get to watch.
I mean, that is a whole separate other
Argument.
conversation, I would say. There's no argument, but
It's true.
conversation. Because, you know, we are constantly given to believe that there's no space for new directors or new writers or new producers or new actors or fresh ideas. But honestly, there is, but they just don't get the support from the audience.
Right. Often because audiences themselves don't get to know. It's also,
Well, you know, how much of a bigger marketing budget you have for smaller films, it's quite dismal the way they open. Non-bankable star films
yeah,
or, you know, mid-level star films. So, you know, when the situation is like this, it is a bit demoralizing for people.
right.
And at the end of the day, it is expensive business, filmmaking. So it kind of, you know, there is a kind, you know, it's almost like you're encouraging only one kind of cinema. And that kind of is not a very healthy situation, because you know, it's not helping a strong and, like, it's not helping a thriving industry in that sense. You're not encouraging anything to thrive. I think that all kinds of films should exist, and they should find a way to all kinds of audiences.
All kinds of film series, I mean, and all kinds of platforms.
I mean, right now, you know, I really think the need of the hour is for people to go to theater.
Yeah.
You know, and that was why, you know, we also believed that this is so universal and it's about a film about celebrating the magic of cinema. It has to release, you know, and
In
luckily
in
for
a
us,
cinema.
you know, things have been mounted in a way where the film is commercially viable, and therefore you can take a calculated, you know, you can take a, sorry, not a calculated, a limited release, you know, and I'm sitting here very calmly, not worried about the opening numbers or things like that. Because you know, there are ways and ways to make films viable.
Yeah.
But the point is, it's the way they're consumed. You know, film is a community experience. You're supposed to see it in a dark hall with lots of other people.
Mm.
And that is something that I think we need to encourage, and film lovers and, you know, who are out there, and the audience who's out there could also step forward when interesting stuff is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, is it just a coincidence that some of the loveliest films in the recent past have been made by women?
Uh, well, again, you know, whose list is this yours? I'm just asking. You know what I'm saying? So,
My list.
exactly. I was going to say, I'm very honored to be in this Kaveri Bandai list, but I don't know if, you know, again, Kaveri, I don't think that all films need to be of a certain kind.
Hmm.
No, I feel like the masala movie is also required. But in that, I think people should be careful of doing too much pre-packaged kind of stuff, because that doesn't work. Because even if
Right.
it's a masala movie, it needs a heart,
Yeah,
it needs word of mouth, it needs to connect to people,
right.
you know?
As we have seen, not
Yeah,
all masala movies are doing well.
yeah, yeah. And
And the
and
and
the
the smaller sort of
yeah,
films that
so
you
I
know,
feel like, you know, eventually if you see whatever works, it has good word of mouth,
yeah,
you know, that, and people like it and they tell other people.
go and watch it.
Yeah, because, you know, as you see, whether it's like a tentpole film with a big actor or a big star, you know, and you can make all the noise in the world, but eventually after the opening weekend, you'll, you know,
Yeah,
figure out the performance of the film. Because I think films are for, you know, kind of people's reactions to films is very personal. why you like a film or what a film says to each person is very subjective and very personal. You cannot reduce it to a business of numbers,
Hmm.
you know, and you can't be like, I don't know, there's a lot of like numbers being put out there, but at the end of the day, if you didn't like a film and whatever the numbers are, you're not going to start liking it. And the reverse. If you like the film,
Right.
numbers are not big, you're not going to start not liking it. So I think the focus needs to be on content, on ideas, on uh, those kind of things. What is the connection that I think a writer or a director has to their audience? You know, who are they speaking
Right.
to, and is the film landing with the people they're speaking to?
What did the BAP of writers think about the movie? Javed Akhtar?
He liked it. He really liked it.
Yeah.
And obviously he had seen it, and he's written the lyrics of the one song we have.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
been part of the making also.
I
Yeah.
love that. That motorcycle and those two boys on it. And what? Malegaon mein hi marega. It's just all of us who never left, our own Malegaons, I suppose.
Yeah. No, it's a very, very heartening story that I think spoke to all of us, and therefore we felt like it will connect with
Yeah.
people who watch it.
Just tell me a little bit about the Amazon MGM Studios release. How is that happening? Is
So
that a theatrical or what is that?
yeah, we
Sorry.
have a international, simultaneous international theatrical release. I'm not
Okay.
sure about the exact number of screens, but I think they're pretty much, it's a limited release here, and we've released in US, UK, Ireland, Middle East,
Oh,
Australia,
cool.
New Zealand, and the idea was to go to reach an audience that goes beyond the Indian diaspora,
Right.
and that's where that's where the partnership with Amazon MGM started.
Right.
Yeah.
It should be interesting to see how it does there. Very
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, it is because it's really been a long-standing dream, like I said, of XL and
Yeah.
Tiger.
Yeah.
We're all like really film buffs, and we like all kinds of films. So just a global Indian film, but something that also really speaks to audiences here.
Right. I wonder, uh, Rima, if you'd stayed in Big Boy, what would you be doing?
I don't know because my dad also eventually moved out of Big Boy. He was a chemical engineer who worked in the refinery there. And then one day he just quit his job, and he and my mother just moved to this farm,
Where?
250 acres of land with
Where?
nothing. Yeah. And we were like straight from a very kind of colonial bungalow with gardens and stuff. We were in a thatch hut with no running water, electricity, and we used to do things for ourselves. But yeah,
In Assam.
in Assam. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, I mean, luckily for my older sister and me, we were in boarding school. So it was holidays. But my parents
Right.
kind of moved to that farm and they built it up. And
Oh,
they were building the house, they had to live like that and stuff. But my father was, I guess, an impulsive person who gave in to his,
inner farmer.
yeah, yeah.
So is he still
And because
around
of that, I
or
think I also have an inner farmer in me. So I do have a farm, and I do
really?
like, yeah. It's 2 hours out of Mumbai, and I spend some time, a lot of time there, and that's my beach in that sense.
What do you grow?
I don't know, vegetables, and I'm eating rice that I'm growing now.
Wow.
I have a lot of fruit trees,
Oh, nice.
mangoes and guavas and lemon trees and cashew and like a bunch of stuff.
Nice.
Mm.
And I've been told one last question. And my last question is about your parents' farm. So that must be big now, right?
Yeah, yeah, but when my dad, after my dad, we have sold the place because
Okay.
my sisters live in Bangalore, I live here. My mother moved to Bangalore.
Okay.
So we did sell that place. But again, I think that a farmer's daughter remains a farmer. So both my older sister and I have farms.
Okay, she does too. What does she do?
She has a curated travel uh, business called Curtain Call Adventures, and
Nice.
she lives in Bangalore. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds nice. I'm sure she must have done the Spain one thousands of times.
Who?
The Zindagi Milegi Na Dobara trip. I'm sure she must have curated something like that.
No,
Your sister?
she does do international, but she does things like a lot of work with the Northeast,
Oh,
a
nice.
lot of textile, and there's a lot of interest in the textile and food, and so she kind of curates what
Curates.
you're interested in, and or if you want to do a temple run. So yeah, it's like she curates holidays for people, holidays that they want.
Great. I must look that up. Curtain call, huh?
Yeah, it's called Curtain Call Adventures.
Nice. Sounds
My
lovely.
sister is Julie Kakti. You can check it out.
Ah, right.
Might as well get some brownie points from her.
Which boarding school were you at?
I first was in Carmel School, Big Boy, and
Okay.
then I went to Loreto Convent in Shillong,
Right.
and then at around class six, I shifted to Delhi Public School, RK Puram.
Oh, yes, I know. I wonder what that experience was
Well,
like.
I mean, that was before the mobile phone era, so
Huh.
it wasn't as controversial as it turned out to be in later years.
Yes.
Yeah,
Who was your principal? Lugani.
Bhutani.
Okay. And then you went to Jamia or Sophia's.
I did SCM. I
Oh,
applied to FTI many times, got rejected. And then,
really?
yeah. And my father kind of said that I have to do something. He came from that school of thought that
Yeah. Yeah.
if you want to do something, then you should have little bit education in that. So, Sophia's was a media course, but
Right.
it was really a wonderful place to be. I think I really grew as a person, and they, had wonderful people like Jarumullah and P. Sainath who
Oh, wow.
shaped my worldview. Till
Right.
today, I think I kind of hold on to that base.
Right.
And after that, I just started working.
That was with Zoya right away, or you worked
No, I,
elsewhere?
I, I worked with Rajat Kapoor on a film called Private Detective.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, in that sense, it was good because it was a low budget film that he did, and I got a chance to work in many, many departments.
Right.
I really, really learned from that experience. And Zoe and I met much later. We met on a film called Bombay Boys, directed by Keza.
Ah, Kaizad Gustad,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So till then you did a lot of, you were AD on many films.
Yeah, I mean, AD'd on ads and films and stuff. And it's only after Zoe and I met. I mean, I was writing stuff and she was writing stuff. But after we met, we kind of just very naturally and organically started, discussing our ideas with each other. Uh, we wrote a short film together that we planned to direct, but we fought so much we had to abandon it. We stopped speaking for a while.
Oh, really?
No, no, I mean, it wasn't for too long a while, but there was a complete breakdown in communication. Anyway, but we kind of really, I think, enjoyed and valued what the other one brought to the table,
Right.
because I think that though we had similar values and we liked similar kind of things, but we've had such different journeys up till that point.
Yeah, completely. I
Like I
mean,
knew nothing about what it is to grow up in Bombay,
yeah,
and she knew nothing of what it was like to come from where I did. So I
yeah,
think it really kind of rounds, both of us bring different things, and that rounds both our edges in that sense.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think so. And
yeah,
that's why the work is so magnificent, It brings in such diverse experiences, but yet I think At the heart
Thank
of
you,
it is,
Kaveri. You're such a fan. You're making me blush.
it's okay.
Yeah, magnificent.
Occasionally
That's
you
what.
should. Thank you. No, I really did enjoy it. I don't always enjoy everything that you guys do, but this was truly lovely. I mean, it's
Thank you.
just,
Thank
and
you.
thank you for doing it. So thank you so much. And what you're doing next, can you talk about it or?
Oh, yeah. Well, so when I've just finished writing a script that I want to direct next.
Okay.
Uh,
Movie?
Film. Yeah, it's a feature film. And it's I don't know if I should speak about it right now, but yeah, it's kind of what we do best, I think, drama and comedy.
Ah, right. And Made in Heaven, come on.
Drama and humor more than comedy, actually. Sorry.
Made in Heaven,
That's I think
Amazon
from
question.
Amazon, yeah. I'm joking.
No, but you better do that quickly. There are lots of people out there who, including me, you're just addicted to it. I just love it. So much fun. Anyway, thank you so much and all the very best. I hope it does very,
Very,
very, very
always
well.
nice talking to you.
Yes.
Bye.
Ditto. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
ma'am. Thank you.